Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Oh man, what a tough loss last night. Warriors lose 101 to 104. The road woes continue. You know, it felt like early season vibes where we had momentum, we had a lead going into the fourth, and they couldn't just close it out. To me, it just came down to the lack of depth in scoring. You know, Steph was out there really putting up a mean triple-double, 31 points, 10 rebounds, 14 assists. Couldn't get it done. No one else came along for the ride. Sometimes you see nights like this where Curry puts up 40, maybe 50 points and they still lose, but not a whole lot else in the box score. Last night wasn't like that. He was doing a little bit of everything and, you know, they still came up with a loss. It's just tough to see because these nights are incredible to watch Steph Curry. He was dicing up the defense. He was getting guys really good looks that they just couldn't knock down. Unfortunately, it seems like we just don't have enough depth right now to compete in the late stages of the playoffs. You know, Jordan Poole has been so disappointing. His main role, I think, on this team is to alleviate ball handling and creation from Steph Curry. You know, when he's in the game, he needs to be putting pressure on the defense, driving to the rim, kicking out to players, and scoring. And unfortunately, he hasn't really done any of that in the entire playoffs. He had a really good game one, but since then, he's been a zero. And last night, he put up a 0 in points. Curry elected to only play him about 10 minutes, which was probably the right decision because every time he touched the ball, it seemed like he was a little bit out of control. He was turning the ball over. So he had 2 turnovers in 10 minutes, and he just wasn't giving us anything. You know, obviously defense is not a strong suit, but to me, Poole has been one of the more disappointing stories in this playoffs, especially considering how good he played last year in the playoffs. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Is it the contract that he got? You know, he just isn't mentally there anymore. Or is it honestly just a lack or a regression of skill? This offseason is going to be really important to see what we do with Poole. I also saw some really tired legs out there. You know, the schedule has been brutal on both teams, with the Warriors going 7 against SAC 2 days later, playing the Lakers. You know, now we're in game 4. The Warriors have been on in playoff mode for over 2 weeks now, and it's not doing anyone any favors. To be honest, it seems like we're missing out on some good basketball too. This whole rule that, you know, these series have to be done within 2 weeks essentially means that teams that go later in the first round have to play every other night. You know, I thought it may favor us, but in the reality, it's hurting everyone. And I think we're missing out on a better product with some more rest, extending, you know, this play time to allow for players to get right and really perform. I think a lot of our jump shooting woes are having to do with lack of energy, and it's not a good look. It's not a good look. I think for Clay specifically, you know, he's pressing. He's had one good game. Again, he's sort of been disappointing as well. You know, the lack of rest for Clay has been hurting him a lot, and we need him. You know, Steph is really the only consistent scorer. Andrew Wiggins was pretty good last night, but overall, it just seems like we're missing out on some good basketball if they were to give these guys a little bit more rest. All right, let's jump to the fourth quarter. So Warriors going into the fourth quarter had a 7-point lead, I believe. Some decent momentum, but to be honest, 7 points really isn't anything in today's modern NBA. Lakers came out in the fourth, erased that 7-point lead right away, and then we went back and forth for a little bit, trading blow for blow, you know, bucket for bucket, and then Darvin Ham said, "Oh, let me play this wild card named Lonnie Walker." Lonnie Walker hasn't really played any of the first 3 games, and he came in guns blazing, fresh legs. You know, Lonnie Walker's a scorer, right? That's his NBA talent. He's a scorer. And so Darvin Ham put him right in, said attack Steph, attack Clay, whoever. And he was hitting tough mid-range shots, getting to the cup, just gave the Lakers a huge boost. And props to Lonnie, you know, for staying prepared. This is what I thought Poole would do for us, right? He's young, he's super quick, he can make shots, and he hasn't done any of that. This is what I was looking at Lonnie Walker and being like, do I want Lonnie Walker over Poole? It's crazy. You know, good on him for making those shots. Really helped the Lakers, you know, pull this one out. Without Lonnie, I don't think they win last night. Our late game execution also was terrible. You know, with Steph handling the ball a lot more, we're running high pick and roll, really over and over, spamming it. And it is generating good looks. I thought at the beginning of the game, GP2 was a good roll man. He was making the right decision for the most part. And last night when we needed a bucket, we went to the high pick and roll. He was getting Clay some good looks. But again, tired legs. Overall, I didn't like the shots that Clay was shooting. He had a late clock situation, sort of understand that. But I think the next trip down, he had a good look and he just rushed it. And you could actually see Kerr on the sideline just be like, "What are you doing, Clay?" Because he was leaning left. I think he came off a screen. He had a decent amount of time to at least set his feet, and he just caught and shot it. And no way was that going in. And then the last opportunity was Steph. He drove on Anthony Davis, got to the mid-range, had a decent look. We were down 1 at the time. Draymond got the rebound there, and he had Schroeder on him, sort of underneath the basket. I'm not sure why Draymond didn't go up for just a little floater. Maybe he thought LeBron was a little bit closer than he actually was, but watching the replay, and I know this is real time, it's hard for these guys to make those split-second decisions, but it felt like, put that up, go into the body of Schroeder, maybe get to the free throw line. He opted to kick it out to Steph. Honestly, I can't blame Steph. I mean, he was gassed out there. He took a tough, probably 27, 28 footer out there over Anthony Davis. Almost made it, but in my opinion, real time, I knew that wasn't going in. And then Anthony Davis got the rebound. Andrew Wiggins came over, grabbed him. I think it was a jump ball. We actually won the jump ball, but Steph Curry fell to the ground as he was grabbing sort of the loose ball after the jump, and he sort of threw it out of bounds, and then that was game. So I thought our late game execution was pretty bad. Really tough loss given the circumstances. Warriors go down 3-1. I hope we go down swinging at least. We have a home game next. I expect them to win that game and push this to LA. Have you guys seen the Corgi on TikTok who predicts playoff series? He is actually 4 for 4 in how this series has played out so far. Lakers first game, Warriors second, and then Lakers 2 in a row. He actually has Warriors winning this in 7. So we'll see if some basketball god uses this little Corgi to tell us who wins the series. That would be wild. It is funny, I saw a Twitter post where it was like, hey, at least Steph has an opportunity to come back 3-1 against LeBron. Wouldn't that be hilarious? Some 2016 revenge. In my opinion, this feels like 2017, 2018 revenge for LeBron. They have the better team. They have the more depth. It's funny because at the start of the season, they were one of the least deep teams in the entire league. And then within the trade period, they became one of the most deep teams. The Lakers have Rui, they have Troy Brown Jr., they have Malik Beasley, who aren't really playing a whole ton of minutes. And they were able to throw Lonnie Walker out there. This Lakers team is tough. This Lakers team is really tough. If we do end up losing, I would love to get at least 2 more games out of this series. So in my opinion, I think Denver's going to beat the Suns. They go to Denver. I think Denver has a decent shot to beat this team, but I don't want them to just have another 4 or 5 days of rest. So, they have an advantage over Denver to go into the NBA Finals. All right, Game 5 tomorrow. We'll see how they do. I hope they go down swinging. I'll catch you guys in the breakdown on that one.